Are you a pet entrepreneur and or pet marketing professional? Do you want a place where you can gain innovative marketing strategies, receive actionable advice, keep up with the latest trends, and thrive in today's market? Welcome to the Pet Marketing Mastermind. All guests are proven and successful marketers in the pet industry. Thank you, David Levy, for joining the Pet Marketing Mastermind. David is an advisor, director, board member, investor, visionary, and more. Thank you so much for joining the Pet Marketing Mastermind. David, tell everyone about yourself and the companies that are under your watchful eye.
Well, Joe, thanks for having me on the podcast. A little bit about myself. Been an entrepreneur my entire life in different categories, in different businesses and different areas. But the pet space started in 1997 when I started my distribution company, Zeus Company. We went from one brand in one location in Chicago to about 120 brands and 3 operations, Illinois, Minnesota, and Southern California. And we went, like I said, from one brand to 120 brands. And a lot of people know a lot of the brands that we carried because we specified on healthy dog and cat products only. And we sold to the independent stores. And out of the 120 brands, Zeus Company helped launch early stage of about 60 to 65 very well-known brands today in the pet space. Today, I'm probably involved with anywhere from 12 to 15 companies. And it's been a whirlwind. So after I exited from Zeus Company and sold the distribution part of my business, I had the opportunity to work with Whitebridge Pet, which we ended up doing about 7 acquisitions and exited a couple of years ago. And I started my own company again, probably in around the same time that I exited from Zeus, called Pet Product Innovations. And we have patents on specific products, and we sell those both domestically and internationally. And some of the other brands, and I'll kind of go through them really, quickly, no real order, just kind of off the top of my head. I'll start with Mela Pet Care because they were just recently on Shark Tank about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago when it aired. And Mark Cuban did come in and invest in Mela Pet Care. It's the first underarm or foreleg, I guess we'd call it, for dogs and cats to take temperature. And there's an ecosystem for veterinary clinics. Another one is a Pup Above, gently cooked sous vide dog food. The Culture Club, which makes mutt gut and kitty gut, which is a prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic. Animal Tag, we manufacture microchips for dogs and cats and other livestock manufactured in Brazil. Augie Bone, the first, I would call it the first plant-based chew toy for dogs. So if you think about other chew toys that are made of nylon or plastics, there's a lot of toxins in those. This one does not have toxins in it. So that's another one. Pet Eyes, phenomenal company. Recently got involved with Dr. Adam Cherry, who's an ophthalmologist, and it's all about eye health for dogs and cats. Artie Pet Feeder, which is the first, let's call it the Keurig of pet food. You take the pod, you put it into the machine, it steams the food, and then you put it into the pet's bowl, which is kind of a cool little product there. We've got Tracky Pet, GPS. So imagine like Amber Alert, but it also has location services, meaning other people that actually join the app for free, Joe, can help you locate the dog or cat in the area, which is a great product. So those are just a few of the ones that I'm involved with, and there's a few other ones that are technology-based products. One of them is Chordata out of the UK. We are working on building a microchip that reads biomarkers in animals, both dog and cat, and large animal. So trying to read health markers so we can reduce or prevent potential health issues. That one is a work in progress. And then another one recently involved with called My Pet Go, and it's a health monitor collar that is going to be coming to market in the USA, I think by sometime middle of this year. So that's kind of a quick rundown, Joe, if that helps.
That is absolutely fantastic. What an incredible group of products, and certainly something I think all of us can learn from, the care you've taken to curate those products. Let's go back a little bit so we can go forward.
Sure.
It might have been Zeus or maybe a role before this. What do you consider your first marketing strategy role? And this can be pet or non-pet. Maybe you had a lemonade stand as a young kid, or you were a sales or marketing executive in a company that wasn't yours.
Well, I could tell you that I benefited from building a lot of businesses and learning a lot about businesses when I started a liquidation company out of Chicago. And I had four retail stores that I called Crazy Dave's Goods for Less. So a lot of the closeouts that I would buy, we would put them into the stores. But if I had an abundance of them, say I bought 20 truckloads, I'm never going to run that product through 3 or 4 stores. I would then sell those off to other people. And, you have to remember, this is before social media. This is before the internet. And our marketing, Joe, was going to trade shows, going to, and when I say trade shows, imagine in the liquidation business, they have a trade show called, I think it was called ASD trade show. And it was all about closeout companies going there and selling their wares to the likes of dollar stores or odd lots or job lots, or even other big retailers, TJ Maxx or the likes back then. But to be honest with you, it was a lot of word of mouth of the marketing that we did back then. On the pet side, though, when I got involved and I started Zeus Company, it was very similar. We would literally have to go to these family pet shows, when I remember in Chicago, small little show. And our advertising really was signs and the proof that the product actually made a change in the pet's life, whether it was coat, which most people see right away. So our early days, Joe, was very, very static, faxing people information. So don't laugh, I'm old. So that really was the start of marketing. And one thing I learned a long time ago is, you do what you say and you say what you do. And to be honest with you, that has paid off in massive dividends for me, that we always stick with our word, even if it costs us money. We always do what we say we're going to do. So I think really for me and my personality and my reputation, really just try to stick with my word and do what I say I'm going to do. And I think that in itself was probably the best advertising I ever did.
That's fantastic. I love that. I love that advice of like going back to the basics, and what has worked for many years will continue to work no matter what changes and what evolves. You have been involved in a lot of companies, whether your own or an advisor, director, board member role, or an investor. What is one marketing campaign that you are most proud of, and why? This could have been a slogan, a packaging design, a national ad you bought, a fax that you sent. What was that one campaign that really has jumped off? I know you probably had a lot that you've seen or seen companies done. What's the one that you're like, that was, and obviously you're not ranking your kids, but
No.
what's one you can think of right now?
Yeah. God, Joe, that's a tough one, because that is really a tough one. You know what, to be honest with you, there was one that we didn't create. Can I talk about that one?
Love it. Yeah. If it jumps off the top of your mind, that's marketing well done.
Yeah. And it was some organization out there that has millions and millions and millions and millions of followers and viewers of their videos, somehow picked up on our product, the paw plunger. Right. So the paw plunger was probably the first paw cleaning device. So it looks like a big mug. We have bristles on the inside, a squeegee on top. You put water and some shampoo in there if you choose to, or just water. You move it up and down on the dog's paw. It cleans the dog's paw. It was the first one. It was actually a patent that I acquired from a former TV celebrity news reporter who actually invented it and decided she didn't want to stay in the pet space. Anyway, this company picks up our video. They make some changes to it. And Joe, we had no idea why literally overnight our sales went from maybe, 20, 30, 50 a day, maybe on a halfway decent day, to like 10,000 in a matter of 3 days. And it blew up, and we had nothing to do with it. That one is the one that I remember, and I hate to say it, we've never been able to duplicate it since that time. So we didn't do it, but it worked for us. So that one's the one that jumps off the top of my head.
That's fantastic. Lightning striking twice, right? And maybe
yeah, right. Yeah, we had nothing to do with it. I'm fine with it. We're good with it.
Was there something about the edit, or just the massive distribution, or did it just catch viral fire?
It caught viral fire, I think. I think people are like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. They liked the video, and I think they did just one tiny tweak. They had taken I believe it was a video from a gentleman in the UK who had done a video of him doing his, cleaning his dog's paws. And they just put it out there to their massive audience. And it was just nuts. It was nuts. And
I can only imagine being the former patent holder and seeing that come across my social media channels. And hopefully,
she and I are still very good friends. She lives in London now, or not in London, but in the UK now. And we stay in touch. Every year I get a calendar that she sends me. She lives on a farm out there, loves it. Super happy that we're doing well with the paw plunger. So no hard feelings on her side. Trust me.
Fantastic. I love it. Next question in regards to more marketing campaign, more blocking and tackling on the side. When you're working with one of your companies and advising them or directing them, what are you seeing as a primary goal that your brands have when they're running a marketing campaign? And obviously all your brands are at different levels and different stages. But what's a primary goal you've seen from one of your companies, and how are they accomplishing that goal? Maybe it's sign up or awareness or retail distribution. How do they keep that primary goal as the North Star?
As the North Star. Well, I always try to tell them that a brand is just a brand unless you have a good story. And you doing what you do, that without a story, that's all you are. You're a widget. So I always make sure that they try to put the story in front. In addition to that, you're solving a problem. Let the consumer know what problem you're solving, right? So I look at those two things. I think about one of the brands who, I would have to say Dr. Cherry over at Pet Eyes. He is probably, and again, he's an ophthalmologist, right? He has a totally different career, but understands how important eye health is for dogs and cats. He decided, since a lot of distributors weren't picking up the product because they're already inundated with 1 million products, how else could he get out to retailers? So he started looking at, I'm sure you're aware in the pet industry, a couple of the different magazines have put together these like promo boxes where brands pay them to be in the box and then they send it out. Well, Dr. Cherry said, man, they're charging $3,000-$4,000 to be in a box. Guess what he did? He created his own box and has invited other brands to participate in that box. And don't quote me on this. It's like $300 or $400 to be able to ship that box out to retail stores. So here's a person that said, I have a problem. Distributors aren't picking me up because they have too many products, wrong timing. There's always a reason. How do I now just get to the retail stores to be able to sell my product? And he thought, well, why am I just doing this on my own? I can't be the only brand. And so when he and I started talking, and this is his brainchild, I am not taking credit for Dr. Cherry's idea. It's his brainchild. A lot of the brands I'm involved with had the same thing, Joe. They're like, distributors are, not picking it up. I'm now spending the money on my own, trying to find all these places. Guess what? I think the first box goes out April. He's got 20 brands in that box. And
wow,
so
I absolutely love that.
I look at that, and so you say, what? There's someone who says, I got to solve my own problem, and he has. And now go out and hit 100, 200 retail stores, not just with his brand, but with the other 19 brands that are in the box. As far as, I would say, a brand that did really good advertising, I think I would have to probably go to Mela Pet Care. They are doing podcasts. And again, Mela Pet Care is both for the professional veterinaries as well as the consumers. So they make lines for both, but they've taken it seriously to do the podcasts, to do the email newsletters, to inform people, consumers, why it's so important for them to have a thermometer in the home. Just as if you have a newborn child and you bring that child home, one of the first things they give you is a thermometer, right? Because temperature will tell you a lot about health pretty instantly, right? High temp will tell you something's going on. Their drip campaign in the newsletter and the other social media things that they're doing, I think they're one of the better ones in getting people to say, that moment of, yeah, I really do need this product. So I think they've done a good job as well.
Fantastic. I love the different seats at tables that you get to observe and see what's working well for one company, go directly to your end consumer through a box, and then what's working well for another company on, like, this is an education play and a reminder play. So we're going to use the tools that help there. Speaking
Correct.
of those, given the ever-changing marketing landscape, it feels like there's a new product and a new tool and a new system that comes out monthly or even sooner than that. How do you keep up with the latest trends and not get caught up in the hype, but what actually is working for your brands or for brands that you're working with?
One of the things I do practically every day, I'm an early riser. I'm usually up about 4 o'clock every day. I think this morning I woke up at 2 a.m. Something was on my mind and couldn't close my eyes without getting up and start kind of doing what I needed to do. But I do a lot of reading in the morning. I will spend time on different sites to get educated about what's going on. And this is not news to the world. AI has really taken over. So we look and contemplate what can be used, what makes sense to be used I would say those tools are there to not replace our thoughts, but to help us with our thoughts, maybe help navigate, maybe give some insight to things we didn't even think about. So I think every company I'm involved with is using AI to a certain extent to help them with everything from marketing to creating a brochure, creating a write-up, whatever, a business proposal for a specific customer. So I would say that tool is being used well by probably, I would say almost all the brands I'm involved with. I also think that the other thing people are doing is trying to figure out a way to partner with other brands that are going after the same customer, as long as they kind of like what Dr. Cherry's doing, right? No competition. Everyone's trying to do the same thing, but partnering and doing some sort of co-marketing, whether it's a contest giveaway to obtain a consumer list if they don't have a large one yet. And we all need additional consumer lists. So I would say that's something that they're all doing. They're using AI. They're figuring out ways to partner with other companies to help them get more both B2B customers and potentially B2C customers.
Wonderful. That is very impressive that you get up that early. I'm a somewhat early riser, like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, but I envy those that can get up, 5 o'clock, because it feels like you're kind of in a world of your own for a couple of hours until the rest of the world wakes up. So,
well, until I have my business partners in Australia or the Middle East, or last night we had a board call. We had a board call last night, and we have some of the board members in Singapore. Another one was in France, and the board meeting went from Central Time. It went from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it is what it is. It's the benefit or the pain, depending on the way you look at it.
Excellent. It's fun. So you talked about AI as being used by all of your company. Which marketing tool, maybe you used many years ago, or you've heard about other people using, is being underutilized in your business? This could be direct mail. This could be picking up the phone, SMS. What tool do you feel is being underutilized? And you certainly don't have to name names.
Joe, I literally brought this up a couple of weeks ago. It's ironic how some of the old school things that we used to do, think about, calculators, and say, you know what, let's go back to paper and pencil. One of the brands, okay. So first thing, underutilizing, picking up the phone and calling people. People just depend on emails, and then, they didn't get back to me. I think you need to be proactive, pick up the phone, be old school, pick up the phone, get the deal done. That's number one. Number two, we're always trying to be social media this and social media that. And one of the brands who did not show it global by choice, we said, we want to still so we're saving so much money not having a 20 by 20 booth. Let's make sure we do a really good promotion for our retailers and through the distributors. And they're national. This particular brand is national, dual distribution. And I went to them and said, when's the last time you've seen a brand out there actually run a contest for those that place orders? And they're like, God, we haven't seen that in a long time. I said, why don't we do something nice? Because when I owned my distribution company, we would always run different competitions or contests for our retailers to get them to try something, to buy something, new, or to increase their order, to get them over a certain dollar amount. And guess what? By them not doing the show, they tripled their sales from last year's global show in 4 days.
Wow.
And they did a giveaway for 2, and don't quote me on this. I think it was a giveaway for 2, like a weekend away someplace. So it didn't cost them a lot of money, but it's an old school thing that we used to do back in the day. Just saying, hey, place your order, your name gets put into a box, and the winner wins, and that's it, right? So generated more money than last year being at the show, net, because they didn't do the show this year. So that to me was, again, I went back to old school.
Yep, those sales incentives at the moment. They saw some brands like, oh yeah, let's make this happen because there's a promotion that's running out, some timeliness there, and to figure out the balance between like showing up and selling product.
Correct.
Amazing. Well, you just left global, and I know it was last week while we're recording this. What was from global? What was a brand that stood out from a marketing perspective? This could be their messaging, their booth design, maybe their positioning. It could be one of your own, or one that really like wow, we want to learn about what they did or how they are positioning or what they did. Obviously not on the sales side, but pure marketing side, what you saw when you're walking by.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because I did have 5 of the companies I am involved with having booths there, and I had several meetings depending on what hat I was wearing, as well as some people internationally from some other businesses. I didn't get a chance to walk the entire show, but I will tell you that when I saw the Kong booth, I was amazed on what they did at the Kong booth. I had not seen a good Kong booth in years. I thought this booth was amazing. They really, in my opinion, showed their colors. They showed their products. It was large. It was bright. I thought they did a great job. That's the one that top of mind is the one that I thought, did a really good job.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was fantastic. They even had a stage, I think, for education purposes, which really does go into their core values, educating the pet parents of different uses of Kong.
Yeah.
Last question, and thank you again, David, for your time and for what you do in the pet industry. What final advice do you have for a pet marketing professional? This could be an entrepreneur, an executive, an advisor. What final piece of advice do you have for a pet marketing professional who's crafting their next campaign right now?
Don't over promise and under deliver. Do what you say you're going to do, kind of right back to what I said initially. I think that goes for any business, including people that are doing marketing. And I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, Joe, but that's the one that comes to mind, right? If you're good at something, do that, and then make sure you execute what you're telling your client you're going to do. And be responsive to your client. Unfortunately, I've worked with a few people who take the money and then aren't responsive, and that to me is the most annoying thing.
Absolutely agree. And I think that does talk to how you select your organizations and how you select your businesses, is they solve a very clear need, and they do that. And you promise that they're going to do that, and then that's what they're there for. And you have quality products. So I think your marketing perspective and position is like the product itself is your biggest marketing tool. You remind me similar of like what Tesla does. And they've only recently started running ads because they're like, our product is the marketing. And certainly you're running ads and direct sales and promotions, but it feels like you pick really incredible products, really incredible entrepreneurs, and allow the product to be the main marketing source.
Correct. The product has to deliver or you have nothing, right? You can make all the promises under the sun. You could make, claims or non-claim type of marketing. At the end of the day, the product has to deliver. And, I would say one of the products that we have at Pet Product Innovations is a product called Zen Clipper Precise. Zen Clipper Precise is the first and only adjustable nail clipper in the market for dogs and cats and reptiles and whatever. And I will tell you, it's difficult to take a product like that is a little more expensive than most nail cutters, but it has a safety factor where when you adjust the aperture or the hole, only so much nail can go into where the blades are to cut the nails. You'll never get to the quick. Matter of fact, we had one gentleman, he was the inventor of the original Zen Clipper. He did a video doing his nails cats blindfolded because he knew what size he needed. He didn't need to even worry about cutting the quick on the cat. So again, you got to take the product out there. It has to deliver, and then you get a lot of good feedback. You get a lot of good reviews, and you go from there. Product has to deliver. End of the day.
Excellent. Yeah, building a firm foundation. David, again, thank you so much for being on the podcast. If people are wanting to follow up with you, where would you send them?
I would send them to contact@petppi.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, David. Make sure, for listeners, make sure to check out all the brands under David's watchful eye and look out for the next episode airing every Tuesday. Thank you all.